Okay, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today we have an awesome and rare find for you from Seiko. A little bit about Seiko. Of course, they were founded back in 1881. They are Japanese in origin and now they have factories throughout Asia. One of the really nice and unique things about the Seiko brand is that they cover all market segments from the very most entry level to the very highest high end. So really cool. They're definitely one of the only brands that can really say that they do that. And this particular model is from their JDM Presage line, and it is, of course, kind of an everyday watch. Some key common characteristics and design language you're going to look for in an everyday watch is you're going to want something kind of that's a versatile blend of sporty and dressy attributes. So I think that's what this watch really nails down. Maybe a little bit on the dressy side, but at the same time, definitely on that steel, nice and sporty, and something that feels still very casual, even with the gold, gilded indices and whatnot. Now, this particular model is the SCVS001. And if you're looking at this thinking, man, that looks kind of familiar, it's because it actually shares the same case as the very popular SARB line in the SARB035. So it's going to have the same case, completely different end links and bracelet, different dial. It doesn't have the chapter ring for the minute track or anything like that. So it actually has somewhat of a different layout inside as well. But this is kind of, you can think of it as kind of a souped up, more high-end version of the SARB035. The SARB035 is very popular, and there's tons of reasons why, and it's a hugely versatile and fine timepiece. This particular model, though, kind of takes that and distills it a little bit, maybe making it so where it's less liked and more loved. So less liked by all, but maybe more loved by the few, and I'm one of the few, and I think this thing is just absolutely gorgeous. So let's go ahead and get this in hand. All right, now in hand, it still gives you that same feel you're gonna get when you pick up, a SARB 035 or 033. It has that beautiful case there with the wonderful finishing, as you can see. Let me just line up that Seiko S for you. Really nice. If you haven't handled one of these, at least the SARB line in person, I really urge you to check it out because the case finishing and the lines, it's just a whole nother level and such an amazing bargain for the money as far as the level of finishing you're going to get and of course the specs. So the case size is 38 millimeters with an 11 millimeter height. But of course this is a Seiko, so it's going to wear really well. You can see those draping lugs that just slope down really nicely, and then everything's reflective and tapered. So visually it's really going to reflect off your wrist, and it's going to give you a little bit less visual weight, which is going to kind of align more with the actual weight you feel on wrist while wearing it as well. So really nice. So you can see that it does have that fixed, beautiful polished bezel there. It has a non-screw down crown that is signed with the classic Seiko S. On the back, you'll see a display case back showing the ever popular 6R15, and this particular model is the 6R15B. So you can tell this is kind of an older one that was out there because we've already moved on to the D line. Now this does have a 50-hour power reserve, just like any other 6R15 movement. And one of the nice things though about this particular watch is that although it is a dressy Seiko watch, it does have lume, and it does have the reverse of lume that you'd find on a SARB 035. Instead of having the lume track on the inside of the indices, it has it in the more natural place on the outside of the indices. So that's one of the nice things that makes this feel a bit more sporty, is that it is lumed. Of course you can tell the hands are lumed, but it also does have lume there at the indices, which is very nice. Now the indices are very nicely applied. They are a polished gold finish, as you can see. Try to get it, get a nice look there underneath that flat sapphire with AR coating. Really nice. And just that dial, that sunbrush finish, that frame date at 3 o'clock, really nice as well. And then of course it does have Seiko Lumibright, so this is gonna actually, although there's not much applied there, it's still gonna glow fairly well, which is really good. This also has 10 bar water resistant or 100 meters, so that's also a nice feature. And you know, you don't have to worry about this thing getting splashed or anything like that, or somebody pushes you into a pool, your watch isn't gonna automatically be ruined, you're probably gonna be okay. It does have solid end links. At 20 millimeters, and then this does taper down to an 18 millimeter, and it does have kind of a beads of rice like bracelet with a solid push button clasp. As you can see, nice and milled out, you're not going to get anything stamped there. And one of the nice things about this particular clasp, although the clasp itself is stamped metal and not the folding mechanism, thank goodness, you actually do get some micro adjusts, which is very nice. And then the system, as far as the connectors here, are going to be pin and collar, which isn't ideal, but definitely you know, a little bit more robust, but a little bit more complex as far as changing. So let's go ahead and get this on the wrist. All right, as you can see on my 7 1/4 inch wrist, this thing just wears really, really nicely. Now, there was a time when I thought 38 millimeters was a bit small for my wrist, but you know, I think depending on the type of watch, the dial layout, the case proportions, there's so many other things that play into it that you can't just base, you know, purely everything on what you will or won't wear based off of just one dimension, which is the diameter. Because this does have those beautiful wider lugs there and that kind of almost barrel shape to it, it actually wears really nicely. Even though the dial itself isn't huge or anything, it wears really nice. And man, look at the quality on that bracelet. The bevels on the links there on the end, wow, just gorgeous. Look at that finishing, the breaks. This is a very well defined break. It's actually like contoured. It's not like just a sharp transition because of the polishing. It's actually contoured. So this brushed portion on the top case is actually sitting above the polished portion there. So really cool little feature. And then of course, because this is a Seiko, great contouring underneath the case there, nice taper, so still get great range of motion, which is really nice. Really great on wrist, as you can see. Oh man, this thing's gorgeous. Look at that way the light hits the dial. Let's go ahead and get some lume shots. Okay, let's go ahead and hit the lights. So as you can see, that Lumibright is going to be glowing just perfectly there. Really nice. And then I think the proportions are actually nicer as far as the way the lume looks versus the traditional SARB. Let's go ahead and get some low light transition for you. And really just highlight the finishing on this piece. Wow. So my hot studio lights do a really great job of imitating daylight outside, but you know what? You're not always going to be in direct sunlight, so I like to get this low light transition so you can kind of get an idea of what this piece is going to look like under less than optimal lighting situations, going in and out of a building, you know, getting in your car. But man, the light just dances right off of that dial, the cream. Oh, just gorgeous. The finishing there on the bracelet, on the case. Absolutely outstanding. Amazing value for money. And you know what? There's one reason I actually didn't post the price for these is because they're discontinued. So I really can't say what you might find them for out in the web. So you might find them for a great deal. You might find them really overpriced heinously. I don't know. I know that when I saw this come up, it was still pretty reasonably priced. I didn't pay too much of a premium over the standard SARB, so, and which is already a great deal. So I lucked out. Got this bad boy new in box, and it's definitely something that's going to stay in my collection. I think it's absolutely gorgeous piece, and it quenches my SARB sickness, because I've been wanting one. Especially I bought a 033 for my father-in-law for his birthday, and he just loved it, and I finally got to have one in hand, and man, I was pretty blown away with the quality. Definitely just gorgeous. I needed something that had a little bit more pizzazz compared to, because I just have so many watches. I need something that really stood out, and I think that bracelet, the dial, the gold, I mean, it really does offer me something a little bit different to get this on my wrist, which is really nice. So, of course, closing thoughts on wrist, you're going to get that classic SARB035 footprint, but you're going to get some more stylized execution. There's also, as far as model variants go, there's also a black dial version, which is the SCVS003 versus this, which is the 001. Comparable models, of course, SARB035 would be the instant comparable there. Really great watch. Amazing bang per buck. Maybe you're gonna see this and pick one of those up instead. And I have no problem with that, because those are great watches and just fantastically built as well. I just think it's pretty cool to kind of see. I didn't really even know that this version was out there floating around, that there's kind of an upgraded SARB that's out there. So really cool. I'd say the bottom line is it's a very rare alternative to the ever popular SARB035. So with that said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like the video, please do hit like. If you haven't already, please do subscribe for more content just like this. And don't forget, of course, to hit that notification bell. Thanks, guys.